Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Free tips here. I bought these a while back, maybe over a year ago now, and they're just laying around. So what we're going to do is process these and get the gold out of them. We begin by crushing them up, just break them up a little bit. Don't have to be real fine. Just break them open so that we can get at the little wires that are down inside the chips. Now let's go ahead and sweep these up. Now what we'll do is carefully put these down into this beaker. And I think last time I did this, I poured them in there with too much force and it broke the beaker. So I'm being a little bit more careful this time with it. Probably should have incinerated these before we got started. That's okay, we're just going to go with it like they are. All of them little gold pins and the gold that's attached to those chips, it will have a little bit of base metal in it. So we're going to start by removing those base metals, adding some distilled water. And now we'll add some nitric acid. What we're going to try to do is dissolve out all the base metals that we can before we try to refine this material in aqua regia. We're going to cover this up. Now we're going to move this over to the heating pad up here. Put some heat to it. Try to dissolve out as much of the base metals as we can. I'm going to pull this down off the heat. I'll let it cool down a little bit and take a look and see exactly what we've got going on in there. I just pulled this down off the heat. I notice it looks like there's some reaction still taking place. There's fumes in there, so that tells me that the nitric is still acting on some of the base metals. I'll put it back up on the heat over here and just let this continue to react. Here's our material, what it's looking like. Give it a stir here. I think we've got all those foils off of there. Just let it cool down now and then go from here. I've allowed this to cool completely, settle out overnight. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take and draw off that liquid with our vacuum bottle. If you look at this solution, it's a little bit cloudy, which is not a good sign. I probably should have thrown this material in a melt dish and burnt it before I tried to treat it with the nitric acid. So I've got a little hot distilled water. What we'll do is go ahead and add this in and see if we can rinse it out a little bit. Here we go. Looks like we've got all the base metals out of here now. I don't see any more. I don't see any need to go with any more nitric acid. We're good here. I'm going to try to filter off this liquid now. Okay, here's our gold foils down in the beaker. It's our prize. I'm going to do one more hot water rinse. Oh yeah, this looks, look at those foils in there, man. That looks excellent. Look at those gold foils. I'm expecting about 0.3 grams of pure gold from those chips, from each one of them. Had 7 chips, so we're looking at about, what is that, 2.1 grams of pure gold. I'm adding a little bit of hydrochloric acid to these foils. Looks like there's a lot of gold in there, but there really isn't. It's not all that much. And we've added that hydrochloric acid, and I see a little bit of bubbling going on, so there's probably a little bit of residual nitric left in there. What we'll do now is go ahead and put this up on some heat back here. All right, if you look in the filter, there's a few crumbs in there, but not much. I'll just add that to my filter paper storage, and we'll get that later on. Right now, what I'm going to do is add a few droppers, maybe 2. That's 2 drops, 6 milliliters of nitric acid. Let's see what that does for us. I think we've got everything to dissolve now. This is our material. I'm going to pull it down, let it cool off. I don't know if there's any lead in here or not, but if there's any soft solder, then there could be some lead. So we're going to add some sulfuric acid, and this should combine with any lead that may be present, form lead sulfate, and then we can filter it out. It's always a good idea to verify that we have gold in solution. So we're going to do that. Get a little of this solution on a piece of filter paper. Test it with some stannous. Not a lot. This stuff can be very tricky. I had a nice dark stain on that solution, and somehow the gold precipitated back out, and there's no gold in that solution now. I don't know how it happened. I can't explain it, but that liquid over there on the right, that green liquid, doesn't have any gold in it. I tested again with stannous, and so what I'm going to try to do here is add some more aqua regia to these chips, put it back up on the heat, and try to do another extraction to see if we can get the gold to go back in solution. Let's pull this down and let it cool off. Gold in solution. Almost nothing in solution in that liquid that we poured off. Okay, this first test in the middle here, the light stain, it was the first test that we did on the green solution over here in our flask. It indicated a little bit of gold. I let it set for a while, and then tested it again off camera. I got this test, nothing in this green solution over here, nothing. So I put some more aqua regia in here, and now I've got gold in solution again. So something's causing it to come back out of solution. So what we'll do is we're going to pour off this solution right now before this stuff has a chance to go back in solution, or come back out of solution. Gonna pour this right into this clean beaker right here. Get it out of there. Man, I forgot how much I hate working with this kind of stuff. Let's test, make sure we still got gold in this solution that we just poured off. Yeah, we still got a stain there. I guess we can go ahead and put some more aqua regia in here. Let's see if we can pull out a little bit more stuff out of here. Put a couple shots of nitric acid. Now we'll put this back up on the heat and let it heat up a little bit. Alright, I've had this on boiling now in aqua regia for about a half hour, I guess. Reach in here and get some of this on a filter paper. Let's do a test with some stannous. Nothing. No gold. I'm going to try putting a shot of nitric in here and see what that does. Wow, look at that, man. That is bizarre. That's bizarre. Now let's do another stannous test after putting that shot of nitric in there. See if that made a difference. Is some metals that went in solution. All right, I'm going to pour this off. into this beaker down here. Save this liquid because it's going to have a little bit of gold in it. I was like, we'll just do a few chips, throw them in there, put some aqua regia, get the gold out, no problem, right? It turns into this. Let's try one more extraction. A little bit of hydrochloric acid. A little bit of nitric acid, just a splash. And we'll cover this back up. Give it a swirl to stir it up a little bit. Stick it back up on the heat. All right, let's go in here and get a little bit of this. Make sure we still got gold going on in this solution. And we do. Not that much. Throw another shot of nitric acid in here. I've only had this up here a couple minutes. Let's just get a quick status test and see where we're at with this. If there's any more gold going into solution. Just a very faint stain there. I think we got it all now. All right, I tested this again, and there's just a trace in there. So we're going to pour this off into our collection beaker down here. Gather all this liquid into one container. Now we'll put this back up on the heat and allow this to evaporate down a little bit. Just set this back up on here. Now let's put this here and this one up here. I see there's a lot of sediment in this solution, so before we evaporate it down, I think I need to pour this through a filter. And before I dispose of this liquid into a waste container, let's check it one more time with some status. Make sure we don't have any gold in there. I don't see any reaction. So it's safe to conclude this is just a waste solution. All right, I went to add this to the waste container, and I got some silver chloride coming out of solution here. Something. Silver chloride. Some kind of chloride in there. Junk in the filter. Set this back out of the way. Now we'll pour the gold solution in a beaker. sure the solution's got some gold in it. There you can see we've got a stain that develops. Now we're going to put this on the heat, evaporate the solution down to drive off any excess nitrate from that solution. I think we've got this taken down far enough. If there was any nitric acid in there, we'd be seeing some fumes forming. So we're going to take this down off the heat now and let it cool down a little bit. I've allowed this to cool completely. Get in here and get a quick status test on this. Just to make sure we've got gold in solution. See that dark stain means gold in solution. Got a little piece of ice in here. It's already nice and cold because it's been sitting overnight, but I'm going to throw some ice in there to dilute it and get it nice and chilled. There's some yellow solids that have come out of solution in there. What are those solids? I don't know. I don't have a clue. It took a while to get all the solution pulled through this filter. Precipitate out the gold now. One spoon should do it. Got it to settle out for the most part. I'm going to set it up here on the heat. Let's see if we can get it to come out of solution a little bit quicker for ourselves. Here's the gold. bottom of our beaker. It's not very much. So what we'll do now is go ahead and pour this off into a waste container. Let's see what this looks like down in here. Alright, let's try to rinse this with some water. Let it settle out because our yield is going to be low to begin with, so let's try to settle it out and get as much of the gold as we can for a yield. Now let's test this solution, make sure we've got all the gold out of here. Completely devoid of gold, so all the gold has been precipitated now. Let's go ahead and pour this off. I'm adding some hydrochloric acid. A little bit of nitrate. Put it up here on the heat and redissolve it a second time. Looks like the reaction slowed a little bit here. I'm going to add a few drops of nitric acid, not much. Just a few drops. Here you can see I got just a few crumbs of gold left to go into solution. I added some additional hydrochloric acid to freshen it up in there. So now what we'll do is just get a few drops of nitric acid, add it in here, and get the rest of that gold to go into solution. Got all the gold to go in solution. That's a nice looking solution right there. What we'll do is go ahead and add a piece of ice to get this to cool off. Now this solution is nice and clear now. After that second refining, we're going to go ahead and filter it anyway. precipitate the gold a second time. This time I'm going to use some ferrous sulfate. And this is some leftover ferrous sulfate from my previous video. I'm just going to add this right on in. I'm going to put it on time lapse, and then we're going to add the ferrous sulfate. Hit this with a squirt bottle with some distilled water. See if we can get that stuff that's on the top to settle out and join the rest of our gold down to the bottom of that beaker. Normally I would just pour this right off into the waste container and just allow that gold that's suspended in that liquid to go into the waste container, but we're trying to conserve and get the best possible yield out of this. So I allow it to settle. It's going to take a little longer doing it this way. Pour this water rinse off, and what we'll do is I'm adding a little hydrochloric acid to this now, and we'll put this up on the heat and just let it boil in a little bit of hydrochloric acid. Had it boiling in hydrochloric acid. It's looking pretty good right now. I'm going to pour this off. Got some gold is sticking to the bottom of the container for some reason. I don't know why it's doing that. All right, let's go ahead and get this poured off of here. Try to get it down into a melt dish now and see if we can get us a yield. There's our gold from our Pentium Pro CPUs. Let's get this under some flame and get it heated up and melted into a little bead. Here's our little bead of pure gold from those Pentium Pro CPUs. Came out looking pretty good. And I think what we'll do is just throw this on my eBay site and offer it up for bids on my eBay site. I was expecting 2.1 grams of pure gold. And I don't think this is going to be that much, but it's not bad. Nice looking little bead of pure gold. Let's go ahead and put it over here on a scale. Let's see what we're looking at here. All right. 1.7 grams. I was expecting 2.1, so the yield is a little off. That's okay. Probably should have incinerated those chips before I started the refining. That always seems to hurt the yield whenever I forget to do that. So we'll put this up for bids on my eBay site. This will conclude the video. I'd like to thank everybody for watching.